Hey guys, Novaexplosion. Welcome back to Trails in the Sky. If you're watching this on YouTube, this should be the 160th video. Although there isn't really going to be a part for this. When was the last time I streamed this game? I streamed the last Trails in the Sky second chapter. Let me rephrase this. I played Trails in the Sky second chapter the last time. I think it was like the week FF16 came out. I know I did a stream before FF16 hoping to finish it, and I didn't. But, so if you watched the previous video, I was fighting Louvet. I did a lot of trimming of that fight because I was getting a little salty, and the Louvet fight was very annoying. And there was also some controversy about, like, oh, you could skip it, but the skip doesn't actually work, etc., etc. I did a lot of trimming, but basically, I kept in the video, it was part 159, I believe. I kept in the video, like, oh, the 2 times I beat Louvet, and the game crashes. So I tried my best to beat Louvet on my own time. I tried to Google search some stuff of why my game is crashing. It crashes at the exact same point every single time. Like, normally Estelle says a line of dialogue. Why is my controller not working? Oh, because I'm using, like, this is really weird. I don't know why my controller is not working right now. Who cares? But, anyway, I tried to work around it, basically, looking up, hey, why is my game crashing? But it's literally the exact same thing. Estelle says a line of dialogue, then Kevin says something, and then when I press the X button, it's just like, hey, crash. It just closes the game on Steam. There was no workaround from what I saw. Like, no one was having that exact same problem. There are people having problems with the crash and stuff, but nothing specifically where I'm at in the game. So basically, I can't beat Louvet. I can beat Louvet. I can't go farther with the game without the game just closing on me. I don't know the workaround. So, you know, I have to unfortunately end this playthrough abruptly. And it really sucks because I don't want to have to do this, and I wanted to just finish the game properly. I probably would have finished the game that day, or maybe it would have just been a super long stream, but I had intentions to finish the game, but it was legitimately impossible because that crash was happening, and I tried to Google search it. People in my Discord were trying to give me ideas of why it could be happening, like taking out Mueller or something. I even tried that. I have Mueller right now, but I tried to take out Mueller to beat him, and it didn't work. But, yeah, so I apologize, but there's, like, no way I'm gonna be able to finish the playthrough properly. So I figured, you know what? I watched the ending, and I just want to put this video here to talk about the ending for a little bit. I want to just talk about my thoughts on it and some of the stuff that happened after Louvet that I'm not going to be able to show on my playthrough because the game crashes. But anyway, yeah, so I just want to say that Louvet is like the best Ouroboros member. After beating Louvet, you get a really nice, really cool duel scene with Joshua and Louvet. I would highly recommend looking at the cutscenes because it was really great. Learning about what Louvet was really after. He wanted to, like, test humanity, and that's why he was sticking with Ouroboros. I'm actually going to do a fight right now just to give you guys a little bit more content as I talk about this. But, yeah, so Louvet had a really cool motivation of, like, hey, I wanted to test humanity after the Homo incident. It was actually really cool. So that was really neat, and I did like that. But we get Fate and the Fairies in the background because I love it. But yeah, so that was really cool. Louvet is definitely like my favorite Ouroboros member. He had some cool stuff. He unfortunately did die. It was very sad for Joshua, and it was a really nice scene. I would just highly recommend looking it up. I'm not going to talk about everything because it's a Trails game, so it's a lot, but you should watch it if you haven't played the game. I would highly recommend looking up the ending. But Louvet was really cool. Definitely my favorite Ouroboros member. And after that, I think it was just you encounter Wiseman, and it's like the final boss. So after Louvet, there was only like one more boss. It was like 2 phases though. Apparently you fight Wiseman on his own, and then you fight like an angel form of Wiseman after that. So yeah, then there was that. Again, I can't do the fights. It's literally impossible to pass Louvet. And then there's the ending. I really like the ending for Trails in the Sky. Trails in the Sky second chapter. It was a good ending. It wasn't like anything special, and this game was definitely not like amazing, but it was fun. Like, I really liked the ending. Joshua and Estelle had a really cute moment at the end, how they reunited. They escaped from Liberarch, and then like they reunited. Again, I'm going over the finer details, but I would just recommend looking up the ending. I feel like the ending is something you should just experience on your own anyway, so I'm kind of leaving stuff open to interpretation of like, hey, look up the ending. But I'm just talking about my thoughts. I thought the ending was good. I really liked it. Also, we got some interesting dialogue with Wiseman and Kevin. Apparently, like, you can bring Kevin to the final boss, and it, like, teases stuff for the third game. So I don't know what, apparently the third game is, like, really different. But, we will be getting the Trails in the Sky the third soon. Which is why I'm recording this video, because I just started rendering the Sky 2 stream, as well as uploading the rest of the Sky 2 videos. I just stopped uploading them because I'm like, hey, I haven't finished the game. I'd rather just wait until I'm closer to starting Sky 3 and everything. So, yeah. I thought it was a really solid ending. It wasn't like anything special, like crazy, but it was a really happy ending, especially seeing the pain that Estelle went through at the beginning, at the end of the first game, seeing Estelle like feel betrayed because Joshua like was working for Wiseman, his memories were manipulated, etc. It was just really nice to see Estelle and Joshua reunite. It was very nice to see them reunite and finally get that happy ending, because the first game didn't end happily. So it was very nice to see them get that closure. And similarly, I could say something similar. It kind of reminds me of Arc the Lad. Like, Arc the Lad 1, Arc the Lad 2, endings were like... And Arc the Lad 1's ending was cliffhangery. Arc the Lad 2 had like a sad, bittersweet ending, but it had a powerful message. And I'm not like a big fan of Arc the Lad 3, but it was still a very nice ending. The Arc the Lad 3 ending felt very deserved for someone who played all the trilogy. If there's one thing I will give Arc the Lad 3, it's the ending. I think the ending in the game is great. But other than that, Arc the Lad 3 is like a fine to good game, but that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to use Arc the Lad as an example, because the Arc the Lad games are connected in that way. Not like Trails, but they're similarly connected, especially Arc the Lad 1 and 2. And 3 is like a conclusion to Arc the Lad 2 in a way, because it gives you the sense of like, oh, after the Great Disaster, what happened to the world? So I wanted to make that comparison. But, realized how I didn't really spoil the Arc the Lad games. I just talked about the finer details. If you haven't played those games, what I said means nothing to you. But, yeah. So overall, I really liked... Oh, dude, that's unfortunate. Overall, Icebreak failed. Overall, I liked the ending for Trails in the Sky second chapter. It was very nice to get that satisfying conclusion, and honestly, it kind of reminds me of the Cold Steel 2 ending. I won't talk about the Cold Steel 2 ending for people who haven't played that, because I don't want to spoil it, but I played Cold Steel 2. It reminded me of that, because Cold Steel 2 had a really nice ending, and it's like, oh, it's a good place to be like, oh, hey, satisfying ending, but there's still Cold Steel 3 and 4. This game still has the Trails in the Sky the third, and I imagine that the third is just going to be like a conclusion to everything, like final closure. So tying up some loose ends, because they definitely teased some stuff with Kevin and Wiseman at the end of Sky 2. They definitely made it seem like, oh, there's something up with Kevin. Maybe we'll get more on Kevin. That would be really neat. We got the gist of Kevin, but I imagine Kevin will be relevant in Sky the Third, based on that stuff we got at the end of Sky 2. But my favorite part of the ending was easily Estelle and Joshua's final moments. They were talking near, I think it was near Louvet's grave, because again, Louvet died. They were having a talk near Louvet's grave, and they were talking about traveling the world together, and they showed you a really nice image of Estelle and Joshua together. That was definitely, like, my favorite part of the ending. That's what made me feel for the ending. I really liked it. Again, you're probably like, Nova, you're missing the finer points of the ending. Trust me, I watched the ending. I don't want to say everything specific about the ending, because the ending is something you should experience on your own. Like, if you're playing these games, watching playthroughs, watching cutscenes, whatever you're doing, you should experience this ending on your own. This is just something that I think people should actually see. I don't want to just say everything that happened in the ending, because then you're going to be like, oh, I don't need to watch the ending. I'm just talking about my thoughts on the ending. But I don't want to spoil everything, because, you know, I think you should experience it on your own. It is very nice. Very nice. But I think with that said, that's basically all I want to get through. This is only like a 10-minute video, but this is basically like, hey, what happened to the playthrough, why I can't finish it, unfortunately, and the fact that, hey, I did watch the ending, and I liked it. Trails in the Sky second chapter, as a game, I thought it was good. I'd probably give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Maybe a 7 out of 10. It doesn't get any higher than a 7, but 6.5, 7 out of 10. I feel like the story in Sky 2 was honestly like the weakest part. Thinking about my opinions on Sky 2, I feel like the story was like fine. I don't know, like the pacing in the beginning, it's a lot better, the pacing, than Sky 1, but the story in the game is definitely not that great. It's like okay, it's serviceable. What really lifted this game for me was the characters, and the characters on their own aren't like my favorites in gaming, I think the characters have a nice chemistry with each other. I'm gonna do one more fight as I talk about, like, my review of the game. But, because Fate of the Fairies is the best track in the game. Don't at me. The only other candidate for best track is Fateful Confrontation. But anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, Trails in the Sky second chapter. I feel like the story was, like, fine. The story definitely never gripped me as much, but what kept me going was the characters. Joshua was doing some cool stuff. I was really interested in Estelle's journey. Estelle grew on me as a protagonist. In the first game, I didn't hate her, but I thought she was kind of, like, not amazing. But Estelle's growth in this game was great. That was honestly, like, the best part of it. And Joshua and Estelle's reunion was great. The side characters got more, like, Sherazard, Tita, Agate, Chloe. They're all good. I feel like on their own, they're fine characters. I feel like what sells it home for me is the Sky group as a group. The Sky characters as a group is what I really like about them. So, thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, the characters on their own, they're serviceable. But what really hits home for me is their chemistry with each other. I feel like as a group, they were great. On their own, they're, like, fine. They were great as a group. As a group, I think they were great characters. So, yeah, that's the story. The gameplay, again, similar to Sky 1. It is more balanced, I guess. But still, the gameplay is, like, not my favorite in the Sky games. I've been pretty vocal about that in the last stream. The combat's, like, fine. I think Cold Steel does a much better job with the combat. And I'm not expecting Sky 3 to be much better in combat. I'm expecting the same exact combat. Hopefully the Zero games are better in combat. Zero and Azure. But I guess we'll see when I get to those. Music is amazing. Trails is normally really good with music. I'm trying to think of what else. The best chapter is Chapter 6, hands down. Was it Chapter 6 when Joshua and Estelle reunited? Chapter 6 is the best chapter, hands down. When Estelle and Joshua finally reunited. So, I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on Trails in the Sky. It's not like one of my favorite games. It's far from one of my favorite games. But it was a fun time, and I honestly feel like because I played Cold Steel 1 and 2, that interested me in the series. I feel like if I started with Sky 1, I don't think I'd be as invested in this series, or like wanting to play all the games. I feel like because I played Cold Steel 1 and 2 first, I'm like, I want to go back. I want to understand those references in the later games. I want to see how Zemeria started. I want to see how this Trails thing started, basically. I feel like I owe Cold Steel 1 and 2 to that, because Cold Steel 1 and 2 weren't perfect games by any means, but I would say that Cold Steel 1 and 2 is what made me interested in playing the Sky games, and eventually the Crossbell games. Like, if I started with Sky 1, I don't think I'd be as invested. Maybe I would still play Trails, but I wouldn't be this invested if I hadn't played Cold Steel 1 and 2 first. But that being said, Sky 1 is like a fine game. Sky 2 is a good game. It's a good game. Probably a 7 out of 10, maybe a 6. 6 to 7 out of 10, I think is fair for this game. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Sky second chapter. It was a major improvement on Sky 1. I thought that was really good. I enjoyed it. The characters were great. But yeah, with that said, I'm going to call this video to a close. No, don't rest again. I'm going to call this video to a close. I just wanted to have this video to give you, like, my rundown thoughts of the game. And talk about the fact that I saw the ending, and I'll be getting to Sky 3 really soon. By the time I'm uploading this, maybe I'm playing Sky 3. I don't know when this is hitting YouTube, but it'll be more or less close to when Sky 3 hits YouTube. So yeah, those of you watching, hope you all enjoyed. There will be more Trails on the way. Trails in the Sky the 3rd will be starting really soon. Probably already started by the time this hits YouTube. And I'll be playing the other Trails games, Zero, Azure, Cold Steel 3, Cold Steel 4, and Trails into Reverie. I'm going to play all the Trails games. The ones that are connected, obviously. But yeah, that is my spiel of Trails in the Sky second chapter. Hope you all look forward to Trails in the Sky the 3rd, and eventually the other Trails games, or other playthroughs I do, like Wild Arms, Final Fantasy, Tales of, Star Ocean, etc. Persona, etc. All that good stuff. Great stuff on the way. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.